enjoying your work. Okay, so let me give you an example of, earlier I was talking about unconscious thoughts that are happening and not knowing and understanding what your body wants. So when we make any choice, we have the ability to think about it, and we have the feelings around that choice. So say if I was choosing to go on holiday next week and where I was choosing to go, I can have the rational thoughts about it. I can think about money, I can think about the flight, the jet lag, and all of that's an important part of making a decision. It's the brain updating itself with information by thinking about something. And then you have feelings that respond to that. Now, normally, most people are only focused on the thinking process of choice, of decision making. When you just focus on that, you also focus on the outcomes of it as well. Even though you're not conscious of it, you're having to, in order to think about a choice, you have to have the particular outcome. So you have to have going on holiday to Kenya or going on holiday to Australia. So you have to have those possibilities in mind at the same time, simultaneously. And when you think about each choice, you have to also have the fear or the negativity around that choice and the positivity. And all of those are contained in your thinking. So if you just focus on the thinking mind, then you'll oscillate between those experiences and those thoughts of the positive and the negativity. And when, after years and years, you've just been focusing on thinking, you overstimulate the positives and the negatives. So you can get a real high from thinking about going on holiday, but you can also get lots of fears about thinking about going on holiday, say. And you fear about making the right choice or the wrong choice, and you're fearing and thinking about the outcome of what it'll be like. And that's how most people in Western societies live. They're totally focused on just storytelling and thinking. But your body is having an experience too when you're thinking about the choices. Your body is having feelings, and your body is having responses. So you've got like intuition, you've got emotional response, you've got all this other complex response happening too. And I feel like when you make a choice, like you should be, say, sort of 70% focused on the body and 30% focused on the thought. The thought is just one element to the way the body works. Thinking is important. I'm not saying ignore all logic, but thinking is certainly not worth half the thought, like if you proportion it out. And for most people, it's the whole experience of making a choice. Thinking is only part of the experience of making a choice. And learning and understanding about the body is another way to make a choice. So you first of all learn what the body wants. So when you go on holiday, you want to relax. Now, this isn't just a thought process. So you think about everything you've done over the last year, and you think, okay, I need to relax because it's been so busy. That's a tiny part of your decision making. That shouldn't be important. Like, what does the body want? So you ask it, do I want to relax? And you just see how the body experiences that thought. And you can either have, does my body want to relax? You can either have a positive feeling or a negative feeling come up. It's got nothing to do with thoughts. The body is just responding to that idea. Do I want to relax? Or do I want a really hectic, busy holiday? And the body will have its response, and that's a really important part of making a choice. But most people have no awareness of the body having a say in anything. Normally the body is totally unimportant. Like, you can tell by the way we feed it in our society, the way we treat it. It's like everything is about the head and thinking. We are just thinking machines. So also say, like who you go on holiday with. Maybe you want a break from your partner. but you're not conscious of it. So every time you think about going on holiday, something doesn't feel quite right. And so you just investigate what it is your body wants. So do I want to go on holiday alone? Maybe there's a positive sensation from that. Do I not want to go with my partner? And there's a positive sensation. And etc. Like this is the, you learn what the body wants and what it doesn't want. The same should be with eating as well. Like that's a really important one. But with all types of things. And yes, thinking has relevance. I'm not saying throw away all logic. Like if you haven't got enough money for the holiday, like just putting it on credit card isn't necessarily the best idea in the world. Like, but you learn to let your body have the say. It's so important to learn what your body wants. Okay, so let's go back to job. So a lot of people in our society, so in Western culture, I don't know so much about other cultures, so it would be a bit of a guess, but I think that a lot of cultures now are ending up very Western. So say in Western culture, well, the way it was for me, I was very lucky actually, because I was an absolute failure at school, which gave a lot of benefits because I escaped this. Like I had severe learning difficulties. It was so severe that my teachers wanted to put me into special needs school because I had such severe dyslexia. And then my parents just couldn't understand it because I was very, before I started going to school, I was very capable and learnt very easily. And so they sent me off for an IQ test, and I came back, I had quite a high IQ. And when they showed it to the school was really shocked because the school had been like just sending me to the corner and treating me like I was an idiot, but I was actually quite above average on my intelligence, but just I couldn't learn in the regular way because I'm really super creative and I learn mostly from imagination and feeling and very intuitive. But our schooling system doesn't accept or recognize that, and they normally just recognize one way of learning. And it actually was a benefit for me in a way, because everybody was taught that they had to pick a career, but I couldn't pick most of the careers because I couldn't succeed at school and get all these grades. Like I couldn't pass these tests. That, like, this isn't me being negative, I wasn't that way inclined. Like I couldn't, and you know, I was realistic about this. Like I'd been put down a year at school, I failed most tests, I was bottom all the time because I just couldn't sit there and write and learn answers and answer it. So therefore, when it came to picking careers, I knew that most careers wouldn't work for me. I couldn't become a doctor or a lawyer or a historian or like, you know, I failed at nearly every subject except practical subjects. So any subject that was practical, I really excelled in. So in a way that was a benefit for me. So I didn't really like get etched into what career I'd have. Like my parents couldn't really push a career on me. It was mostly about, they were taught by the Dyslexia Institute just to encourage me and try and bring as much positivity around education and learning. It was like, fuck career. Like, let's just help her be positive about her experience at school because it's so negative the way the teachers treat you. And all my friends, you know, they, especially because I went to a paid for school a lot of the time. I sometimes went to government schools as well, but I also went to paid for schools. So a lot of my friends had a lot of pressure on them to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be a professional, like to have a trade, a very high paid trade. And so they all fixated on that, partly because that's what their parents wanted, and out of fear, like a fear of, and excitement, but fear of not making money because of everything they'd been taught by the education system, that they had to be someone. So they went into these careers often out of pressure from family, trying to live up to expectations and fear of not having a job, a particular job. And there was no sense of actually what their child wanted to do, what their play wanted to do. And the way that you know that is through your body. Like what their body responded to. It was a very intellectual process, this picking a career. And often people pick their careers out of this sense of fear or sense of having to earn money, and they end up in a career. Often when they get out of university, they're then very scared because they think, I've got to get a job to pay back the debt. So they get into a career and they don't particularly like the career. They're normally doing it because it's high paid, because it pays well, and they're forcing themselves to do it. And what that does over years and years to the body, if the body isn't in line with that job, it's actually telling that body unconsciously that you're not worthy of doing what you want to do. The bad things happen to you if you do what you want to do. That's the way it's being conditioned, is that you have to sacrifice yourself and do things you don't want to do. And then you've got to fear money. But that's not conscious, that's just the way the body is responding to every day going to this job, or 5 days a week, or 6 days a week going to a job that's not in line with the body. And I'm not going to say that you're going to find a perfect job and live happily ever after. But if you find a job that's more in line with your body and what your body wants, then you're not going to be conditioning yourself that you're unworthy to do what you want. And you know, it could be anything. Like, I have a friend that really, really loves cleaning. They love it. They love cleaning, and I can get what they love about it, like the perfectionism of cleaning. But to them, they would never think of that as a career, because they would feel ashamed of that. That, you know, their career would have to be something respectable, like that's too lower down a job or something, which it's totally not. This is just society's intellectual pressure on you. But actually, I think if that person came back to what their body wanted, their body would really enjoy that. And that's the beauty of the body. That's beautiful. That's like childlike innocence. And the body and the intellect would fear, you know, I won't make enough money, I won't attract the right partner, all these types of things. And obviously there has to be the weighing up of money and how to survive, because our society is totally unfair with pay distribution. It's better than other non-Western countries, I think, but it's still totally unfair. Maybe not the communist countries, but like minimum wage is really, really unfair. If you employ someone and you have enough money, you shouldn't pay them minimum wage. That's not ethical. If you have enough money, you should pay them more than that, because people can't live off minimum wage. The government say they can, but they can't, particularly not in London. In France, it's a lot fairer. The government sees your wage and then gives you money to make up for it. Like it gives you allowances off your rent and stuff. So in France, it's a lot better. But in England, like when I was in university in London, I couldn't afford to do a minimum wage job and pay my rent. This was impossible. You'd have to have 2 jobs. Okay, so back to the subject. So it's really not about doing work that's going to lead you to all these places of your imagination. It's doing work that's in line with your body. And that's really scary to people, because people are like, no, suppress the body, don't let it out. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you guys. I'm sure that hurt, me hitting the microphone. Because, you know, it might question your life, your current life circumstances, and that's really scary to most people. But often that fear isn't actually what your body feels. That fear is a mental story that you're repeating to yourself because you've been taught it and you've followed and you've believed that thought. Underneath, maybe your body feels excitement and joy at the possibility of something new and different. And why would you listen to the intellect over the body? I'm not saying just listen to the body, but why? Why do you think that the intellect is king? I mean, if we put it into society's terms, like, and if we, I think this, we put it maybe into more spiritual terms as well and mixed it together, you could maybe look at the intellect as a masculine quality and the body feeling as a feminine quality. And if you split it up like that and you realize that they've got to work together, and there's other masculine qualities, not just the thinking, the body has other masculine qualities. Why do you want to just listen to a masculine side of you? Are you sure that that's not just society's conditioning? To see that as king, to see that as the main leader? Like, why are you so against the body leading the way a little? And it's because it scares the thinking mind, and because you see the thinking mind as king, and because you focus on the thinking mind, the fear takes over. But there's also, like, there's masculine qualities to the body, like, I'm not saying that the whole body is just the feminine quality, but I'm just trying to make you understand or see how society has emphasized the thinking mind and that masculine quality of us, and that there is another possibility. And the feeling side is so alive and juicy and feminine. I sometimes think that part of the with me particularly, when men are attracted to me, what they're enjoying isn't so much me, but me bringing out their feminine quality. Because the feminine quality is love. And the masculine quality is maybe more that emptiness. Like, the feminine quality is like love and life and aliveness, and the masculine is more that stillness. And that's not a negative thing, the stillness and the emptiness, but they both go together equally. And sometimes I feel even just as a teacher, not even with partners or anything, the men or even the women that are attracted towards me, not necessarily sexually, but attracted towards me, it's because I'm very embodied. I remind people of that more feminine, alive quality. I think I can also remind people of that stillness and emptiness quality. And it's not that they really like it in me, it's just that it reminds themselves of their own femininity. And femininity to me is the I am, is the everything side to life. And the masculine quality is the emptiness, no-thing side of life. So I think in Hinduism, like, Shiva was seen as the stillness, the void, the emptiness, and Shakti is the life, is the everythingness, is love. I'm not positive about that. That's something you'd have to go and research yourself. I mean, I don't have the best memory in the world, and so sometimes my memory gets muddled. If I could actually remember things that I read and took in, I think I remember them on a bodily level. If I remembered them intellectually, I would be like a walking encyclopedia. I've read so much and learnt so much, but I seem to not remember things intellectually. It's like I can feel them. That's why I could never pass the tests when I was younger. Even though I knew what they were talking about maybe a lot better than my peers, I couldn't write it down and explain it so much intellectually. So the way that you love work is by letting your body be involved. If your work is just about the mental, then it's going to have the polarities of enjoyment, of hate, of love, of hate. You'll become dead as well. So you let your body in. Okay,